Protection.
Thank you very much, Christine. That was a wonderful, wonderful presentation. Thank you. Indeed, the moment is now. We all have a duty to protect the ocean. Next on the program is a presentation on the state of Ghana's blue economy. And this will be given to us by Professor Kwesi Appianim-Addo, Sustainable Ocean Plan Advisor and Director of the Institute of Environment
and Sanitation Studies, University of Ghana.
You're welcome. I think you've got the...
Thank you very much, and good morning once again. So I'm presenting on the state of Ghana's blue economy. And in this presentation, so in this presentation, I'll give a brief introduction looking at the state of our ocean and how it relates to the 5 key points of the transformation being spearheaded by the high-level panel, and that is the wealth, the health, the equity, knowledge, and then finance. And I'll also look at the blue economy, the concept, and then also look at opportunities within our ocean. And I'll also talk about the challenges and the key institutions that are spearheading activities within the ocean, and give a conclusion. So what is the state of Ghana's ocean? The state in terms of wealth, our state in terms of health. Our ocean indeed has a lot to provide if we can take good control and good management of the ocean. Seem to have a challenge with it. All right, so we have a lot, the ocean has a lot to offer in terms of wealth, in terms of health, but what do we mean by ocean wealth? So many things within the ocean has the potential to provide jobs. Are we properly harnessing the resources within the ocean? In terms of health, our ocean is indeed suffering. It's suffering as a result of pollution, it's suffering as a result of overfishing, and several activities that are going on within the ocean domain. It appears it takes time. Okay. So there are several threats within the ocean. And these threats have the potential to prevent us from achieving. In terms of equity, are we deriving, is everybody getting a share of the resources within the ocean? Are people being left out? In terms of the potentials that we have, are we training people to take good care of the ocean? As an ocean nation, we currently don't have a research vessel. So how are we preparing ourselves to use science as a tool to effectively manage our ocean? How much is going into ocean investment? How are we financing the resources within the ocean and in general the ocean management? So what is the blue economy? The United Nations has defined the blue economy as comprising of a range of economic sectors and related policies that together determine whether the use of ocean resources is sustainable. The World Bank identifies sustainable use of ocean resources for economic growth. The European Commission identifies all economic activities related to oceans, seas, and coasts. It covers a wide range of interlinked, established, and emerging sectors. And then the Center for the Blue Economy in California identify overall contribution of the oceans to economics as the blue economy, the need to address the environmental and ecological sustainability of the oceans, and the ocean economy as a growth opportunity for both developed and developing countries. The African Union identified the blue economy representing a basis for rational and sustainable and conservation of natural resources, both renewable and non-renewable, and their natural habitats. So in a nutshell, blue economy brings human well-being, social equity, and environmental sustainability into harmony. And this is very important because it serves to preserve the resources within the ocean. Blue economy will bring all on board with the ultimate aim of creating jobs, reducing poverty, and ending hunger. So the key concept underpinning the blue economy is sustainable management, sustainable utilization of resources within the ocean. In Ghana, we have been using the fisheries industry, the coastal tourism, and transportation as key issues or key issues within the blue economy space. Fishing is providing a lot of job opportunities. Coastal tourism has the potential to bring in a lot of revenue. And transportation, if well managed, also has the potential to bring in revenue. Beyond this, there are several opportunities, as I mentioned. Fisheries and aquaculture can result in several opportunities, providing jobs for people within the ocean domain. We can also look at biotechnology, where marine pharmaceuticals can be looked at. We can look at marine renewable energy. We are not taking advantage. Ghana happens to experience high currents within the ocean, and this can be harvested to generate power. All these things can provide resource for revenue generation and creating jobs for people. We can also talk about marine coastal tourism. It's a very good sector which has not been explored. And this sector can really rake in a lot of revenue and also create jobs for our people. Things going on within the marine zone. But these activities within the marine zone have a lot of benefit, but some of them are also resulting in challenges that can prevent us from achieving the blue economy. And one that I can mention is sand extraction. Sand extraction has a huge, you deplete the sediment budget. And once the sediment budget is depleted, definitely can result in challenges such as increased coastal erosion, which can prevent us from achieving the blue economy that we are looking for. So what are the challenges within our blue economy space? Overexploitation of marine resources. We can talk about climate change impact, increasing acidification, increasing sea level rise, resulting in flooding of vulnerable areas, resulting in increasing erosion in vulnerable areas. We can also talk about inadequate infrastructure and technology. This is also a key challenge that can prevent us from achieving the blue economy. Financing and investment opportunities, capacity building and human resource development, lack of effective coordination of key institutions. From the ocean governance study we did, we identified the key institutions, and we also realized that some of their activities, collaborate each other, but there are also activities that are creating challenges. Coordinating these key institutions is a major challenge, if not well taken care of, can prevent us from achieving the blue economy. The key institutions identified include EPA, the Ghana Maritime Authority, the Ghana Navy. All these key institutions play a key role, and bringing them together, working effectively, having a common vision and a common purpose to achieve the blue economy, to make sure that the resources within the ocean are well managed and protected so that the future generation can also come and enjoy what we are enjoying. There is a need for these key institutions to work together. Areas that we identify as challenges, we must address these areas so that they can work together. So what is my take-home message? The take-home message is that let's develop a comprehensive blue economy strategy guided by a sustainable ocean plan. This is critical. We need to develop a strategy, and that strategy must anchor within the sustainable ocean plan that is being developed. And once that is done, we can achieve a lot. Let us strengthen institutional capacity. We need to strengthen the capacity of institutions so that they can perform and work together as a team. Promote private sector engagement. Let's find a way of bringing everybody on board. We should not leave people, everybody should be part of it. And the time to do it is now. The ocean has the potential to provide huge employment opportunities for our people. The ocean has a potential to reduce the poverty level in this country if we can manage the resources within the ocean effectively. Let us invest in research. Yes. Can we use science as feeding policy so that there can be that interaction between science and policy to bring out mechanisms, strategies that can effectively manage our ocean? It is important that we foster collaboration and partnership, and the time to do it is now. Ladies and gentlemen, we can't postpone it. And to be honest with you, as I mentioned, the ocean has the potential to bring in a lot of revenue for our country. The ocean is the future. And if we want the future we are looking for, let us now go back to the ocean and relate to the ocean to the best of our ability. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Apienim Addo. That was very insightful. Very, very insightful. I think he deserves another round of applause. Okay, so now we're going to take a short break. Enjoy the video.
The collapse of Ghana's fisheries, with landings of key species, overfishing, small-scale illegal fishing shrinking, fueling the collapse of Ghana's fisheries, with landings of key species, small-scale fishes shrinking every year. In 2015, Ghana committed to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, a right-based action plan aiming to eliminate the 2030 Agenda, reduce inequality, and protect the planet. Action plan aiming to end overfishing and illegal fishing by 2020 and protect has been one of the agenda's goals outlined in Target 14 and illegal fishing by 2020 has been one of the agenda's goals outlined in Target 14 shows that both practices are still taking place, in many cases openly. But evidence shows that both practices are still taking place, in many cases openly.
We have trolling nets, and inside to the sack we have another small net. Trolling nets that make us inside to the sack fishes. We have another sometimes small they select inside that make us still make Lego fish. So if we get 2,000 or 2,500, they call the clinic will come alongside for the vessel. We get 2,000 or and now watch out for Omudi Badadi.
The illegal cycle trade, which fish are caught by industrial trawlers, transshipped at sea to purpose boat canoes, illegal sold at local market fish has been banned in industrial trawlers, but despite being illegal, cycle is still widespread. Local markets has been banned in Ghana, but despite being illegal, cycle is still widespread.
Thank you very much. This video, short video, got me thinking. So we have Mr. Kofi Agboga, Executive Director, Hen Mpoano, and Chair of SOP Technical Working Group, to give us a presentation on Ghana's Sustainable Ocean Plan, the journey so far.
Good morning. It is my pleasure to be here, and I wish I had the energy of Professor Apienim to do similar delivery. Nevertheless, I'll do my best. And this morning, as the chair of Ghana's Sustainable Ocean Plan, I want to bring to you what we have done so far in terms of getting a plan for Ghana and how this plan will be implemented. I believe sincerely that we have started work already, and the plan is not just going to be a plan on paper, but we will ensure that it is implemented to the fullest. Now, deriving from the high-level panel, Ghana has been able to set up a Sustainable Oceans Plan working group, which is based in the office of the SDGs, in the office of the President, to deliver a plan for Ghana by 2025. This we are working on very seriously. In my presentation, I'll give you an outline first of the presentation that I'm going to make to you, and say that we are deriving a lot of inspiration from the high-level panel to deliver this plan to Ghana. Now, the objectives of our plan deriving from the high-level panel is 1, to enhance humanity's relationship with the ocean, harness the latest ocean technologies and knowledge available, and working with diverse stakeholders to prepare this plan. We also aim at bridging the gap between ocean health and ocean wealth, and also develop a sustainable action agenda that would transition us to an ocean economy. The high-level panel has as the pillar to deliver 100% protection of our ocean. And if you listen to Mr. Teleki, he talks about the 3 Ps: protect, produce, and prosperity. And that is what we aim to present to Ghana by 2025, and subsequently how we implement this plan. At the recent summit in Canada, Ghana also committed to protecting 30% of the ocean by 2030. And the question we ask ourselves, how much of the ocean space have we protected so far? So, why should we have a sustainable ocean plan? It is to optimize the benefits from the various uses of the ocean, whilst balancing economic, social, and environmental imperatives. 2, to map out the marine space for competing uses and designate potential marine protected areas, the so-called marine spatial planning. And thirdly, to create awareness that builds also the capacity of management institutions to manage the ocean resources very well. Now, the Ghana SOP will, among others, provide a framework to reasonable growth of the ocean economy, and 2, to describe policies and mechanisms that facilitate sustainable ocean use and also maximize the benefits of the oceans for the present generation as well as the future. In doing this, we are standing on 3 pillars: inclusivity, integratedness, and an iterative process. Inclusivity, because on the panel or the working group, we have all relevant institutions that has something to do with the oceans to bring on board their expertise and experiences to be able to get the plan for Ghana. Second, we have a cross-cutting approach and mechanism that brings all these institutions together and link the various ocean processes, plans, and information available in a very coherent manner so that it is friendly to use by all institutions that are part of this process. It is iterative because from time to time we will review what we have done, and if there is new knowledge, we'll have to integrate this into the process. Now, how do we plan to deliver this through structures that we have identified? 1, we have the SDG office seated in the office of the President, a technical group has been constituted, which is made up of many institutions that are working in the ocean space in Ghana, and 3, an SOP secretariat is actively working to achieve the Sustainable Ocean Plan delivery. We are also liaising with other partners to be able to support the process, not least the World Bank, the Environmental Defense Fund, UNESCO IOC, the Global Oceans Account Partnership, UNEP, and the rest. The main outputs of the Sustainable Ocean Plan, ladies and gentlemen, will include stakeholder consultations at the sub-national level and also at the national level to bring this information and ideas and initiative to people at the grassroots level, and also take information from them as well as their concerns in order to put it in a frame that will deliver the Sustainable Ocean Plan. We will also include implementation arrangements and rules, as well as a financing framework for the delivery, as well as communications of the plan and its details to communities. We hope that at the end of the process, we will deliver a Sustainable Oceans Plan for Ghana, as well as set up a few marine protected areas that will begin the protection of the ocean, as well as delivering biodiversity, fisheries protection, tourism, and others to our coastal communities. What have we done so far? As Prof mentioned, the Sustainable Ocean Plan, or the governance study, has been completed, which identifies the framework and institutions that look at the ocean space and what they can deliver. A technical working group has been constituted by a number of institutions, EPA, Ghana Maritime Authority, Ghana Regional Maritime University, the oil companies, the navies, you name them, of which I am the chair. We have recruited a coordinator for the secretariat, and we have an advisor who will be advising us on the issues as we go forward. Funding has firmly been secured and work is in progress. Technical discussions are going on, and we are looking at more institutions and financing to ensure that when the process has been completed and the plan has been delivered, there is funding to do the detailed work that is required to protect the oceans and deliver all the goodies to Ghana. We have been able to outline a plan or a roadmap within this short period from now until 2025 to deliver the plan. One, from next week, we are going out to start with the sub-national engagements. And as I said, we will take information to the people about this blue economy and the planning, and also receive information from them. When we have done this, we will do our analysis and also go out there and start professing and sending information about this plan, so at every stage, all persons and communities are aware of the process. From September 2023 to July 2024, we plan to go into the weeds and develop this plan for Ghana. And when this has been done, we have to go back to the people and share with them what is in it. And finally, we will train institutions, communities, CSOs, and the like on how the plan implementation should proceed. So, it is not only a talk shop for us, but we have a plan. As from next week, we are hitting the road. We will start with Accra and Tema, where we will have sub-consultations and move on to Keita the following week. 27th, we will be in the Western region through to 28th, and 29th and 30th, we will be in Cape Coast and Winneba. And we have invited a number of institutions to be part of these sub-national consultations so that we can fertilize ideas and generate a lot of information for the SOP process. We will come back to have our national consultations somewhere late July, and 2 weeks following that, we will have a national validation workshop where we will present to those that we have consulted at the sub-national level what we have found from their consultations for them to validate for us, so that the process is seriously tested with feedback loops, so that it is not what a friend will say, you just sit in Accra and you put something on paper and you say it is a national plan. We're going to work with communities, traditional authorities, institutions at the local level and the national level to deliver the SOP for Ghana by 2025. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Agboga, and thank you for all you're doing to ensure that our oceans are protected. I think we deserve another round of applause. We will now have an overview of Ghana's West Africa Coastal Area Project by Mr. Raymond Ohene Ofori, Deputy Director, Environment, Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation.
That's right. Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. I stand on existing protocol and also thank the organizers for their generosity in inviting us to showcase the WACA Resilience Investment Project in Ghana. I make this presentation on behalf of the leadership of the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, although I must say I struggle to fit in their shoes. And also thank the previous speakers for their insightful perspectives, also by their definition of the blue economy and what the Sustainable Oceans Plan entails. I do not need to go into the technical definition of them. Thank you very much. By way of an outline, I will go through the overview and background, objectives, components, the outcomes, project components, technical basis for the site selection that the project is intervening in, and then the linkages with the Sustainable Oceans Plan. The WACA program is being implemented along the coast of Western Africa, from Gabon to Mauritania. WACA RECIP 1, which started in 2018, has 6 countries, and then with the onboarding of Ghana, Guinea-Bissau, and Gambia, under WACA RECIP 2, brings the total to 9 countries, but there are other 3 countries that continue to receive technical assistance and 5 countries earmarked for future engagement under the program. Because specifically we are engaged under the auspices of the SDGs Advisory Unit, I'd like to say that the project aligns with several of the SDGs, including the SDG 13, 14, and 17 on climate action, life below water, and partnerships for the goals. The objective of WACA is to strengthen the resilience of targeted communities and coastal areas in Ghana, particularly to promote the sustainable growth of Ghana's blue economy by restoring coastal ecosystems, especially lagoons and mangroves, protecting coastal communities and assets from erosion and flooding, and supporting coastal livelihoods. What outcomes do we hope to attain? We hope that by the end of the project to contribute to mitigation and adaptation measures which would be implemented at Korle Lagoon, Keta Lagoon, and the Densu Delta to address severe erosion and flooding along the coast. Coastal communities would also have greater resilience to climate change, and this would be attained through a focus on nature-based solutions and restoration of coastal habitats and the protection of coastal livelihoods. A stronger blue economy in Ghana that sustainably manages coastal ecosystems and natural resources and promotes green growth. The project, like many other World Bank projects that you may be familiar with, has 4 components. The strengthening of the regional integration that is across the countries or along the coast of West Africa would form the component 1. And that component 1 is managed at the regional level by the West Africa Economic Monetary Union, that has a steering committee including all of the countries involved in the program and chaired on a rotating basis by countries. The component 2, which deals with the strengthening of the policy and institutional framework of countries, but as well as across all of the regions, the harmonization of the policies and regulations for transboundary coastal management. Component 3 deals with the national physical and social investments, in our case for the 3 sites, which is the Keta Lagoon Complex, the Densu, and the Korle Lagoons. And then component 4, which is the national coordination of it. At that, for component 4, so at the governance level, at the country level, the governance arrangement is such that there's a national steering committee which will provide the overall strategic guidance and approve the plans and budgets of the program. And it's also made up of MDAs, including Ministry of Works and Housing, Lands and Natural Resources, and the Coastal Development Authority, among others. Also, let me say that it has a representation of CSOs at that level. And then there's a project implementation committee that is housed at the ministry, staffed with the requisite technical expertise to assist the ministry in implementing the project. And then there's a technical committee made up of agencies that have interest in both the coastal but the marine environment as well, including agencies such as Ghana Hydrological Authority, the Forestry Commission, EPA, also CSOs, among others. WACA is a 150 million IDA credit facility to the government of Ghana, which would contribute to fiscal and social projects, the coastal policy and institutions, the SOP and marine spatial planning, and plastics and marine pollution. It also has a ProBlue grant, additional grant financing of 5 million that also contributes to the SOP and marine spatial planning, the plastics and marine pollution, as well as the blue carbon and mangroves economy of Ghana. And it does also leverage at Ørsted funding of 8.5 million directly contributing to the blue carbon and mangroves in Ghana. What was the technical basis for the selection of the sites? There was a comprehensive stakeholder mapping that was done across a broad spectrum of actors from policy, security and regulatory, research and academia, conservation, extractive and constructive industries and services. And these wide stakeholder consultations were conducted from 2021 to 2022. That included line ministries, agencies, traditional authorities, civil society, trade groups, etc. And then there was a stringent principle guiding the selection of these sites. The sites, a mapping was done. So a mapping was done across the coastal landscape of Ghana from Ekwe along the coast, Côte d'Ivoire border to Keji near the Togo border. The technical assessments were conducted and sites selected out of 8 hotspots that were identified. The identified hotspots were further narrowed down to Korle, Densu, and Keta based on a technical objective and a consultative process with specific guiding principles. So, see quickly that, the N1 road, Cape Coast Takoradi Road, was identified as a hotspot. The Winneba Muni Lagoon was identified as a hotspot. The Densu Delta Dansoman area was identified as a hotspot. The Accra-Tema Beach Road Roadway was identified as a hotspot. The Songo Lagoon, the Keta Lagoon, the Jita, and as well as the Keta Lagoon East and South were also identified as hotspots. And based on the criteria, it was narrowed down to a site selection of 3 areas, which WACA Recipe 2 is intervening in. So what are the linkages with the Sustainable Oceans Plan? Okay. Through the ProBlue grants, WACA will finance the development of Ghana's SOP. Once the SOP is final, WACA Recipe 2 in Ghana has already allocated part of the IDA financing to implement the SOP and make its findings a reality. The WACA project, which is 155 million, is an investment in Ghana's blue economy, and it's aimed to consolidate and catalyze action across multiple sectors. Additionally, WACA project activities linked directly to the SOP objectives, including developing an integrated coastal and marine management policy, improving coastal and marine habitat regulations, developing blue economy policy framework or strategy, plastic recycling and marine pollution policy and pilots, and implementing the marine spatial planning pilots based on the SOP findings. WACA, although it's promising, it is not the solution to all of Ghana's coastal development challenges. 155 million is not nearly enough to do so. However, the project will demonstrate transformational results. It can then serve as a catalyst for leveraging further investments in Ghana's coastal resilience and blue economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ohene Ofori, for giving us the overview of the WACA project. I think, distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen, you will agree with me that we've earned a well-deserved break. So we will take a 20-minute tea break. We should be back. It's 10:30 now, so we should be back and seated at 10:50. My name is Angela Emefiaboy, and I work at the National Development Planning Commission. You've been such wonderful people today. Thank you so much for having me. It's been an honor and a privilege. Thank you.